Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. They mocked humanity, worthless ship, until it changed everything we know. The unworthy gift, the Grand Arbiter of the Galactic Confederation, High Chancellor of Exmoria, could barely contain his amusement as the pathetic human vessel limped into the ceremonial docking bay. The ancient cruiser, designated the Forsaken Dream, had been deliberately chosen from the Confederation's vast fleet of decommissioned ships. It was tradition, after all, to welcome new species with a gift, a symbolic vessel to mark their acceptance into the interstellar community. What the humans didn't know was that for over 12 millennia, this tradition had served as the Confederation's subtle way of establishing hierarchy. Give the newcomers something barely functional, watch them struggle with obsolete technology, and remind them of their place in the cosmic order. "Look at them," Vex Moria whispered to Admiral Klovex. "They're actually grateful." The human delegation, led by Commander Alara Chen of the United Earth Coalition, approached the docking platform with diplomatic smiles that betrayed no disappointment. Chen, a compact woman with calculating eyes and the bearing of someone accustomed to defying expectations, bowed formally. "On behalf of humanity, we accept this generous gift with profound gratitude," she announced, her voice carrying across the cavernous bay. "The Forsaken Dream will serve as a bridge between our civilizations and a testament to humanity's place among the stars." Admiral Kulovx's sensory ridges vibrated with suppressed laughter. "The vessel has served the Confederation for nearly 8 centuries. Its power core is temperamental but functional. We trust you'll find it educational." What Commander Chen didn't reveal was that Earth's preliminary scans had already identified exactly why the ship had been given to them. The quantum displacement drive was 3 generations out of date. The hull's molecular bonding was degraded to the point of being unsafe for faster-than-light travel. The navigation systems operated on principles that humans had already theorized beyond. But most importantly, the ship's primary power core, a Class 8 quantum fluctuation matrix, had been deemed dangerously unstable by Confederation safety protocols over 2 centuries ago. This wasn't just an obsolete ship, it was practically a death trap. "We look forward to studying such venerable technology," Chen replied, maintaining her diplomatic facade. 3 weeks later, Chief Engineer Malik Rahman stared at the holographic display of the Forsaken Dream's power core with the look of someone who had just found treasure in a garbage heap. "Do you understand what we're looking at, Commander?" he asked, his fingers dancing through the projection. "They gave us exactly what we needed." Chen crossed her arms, studying the simulation. "Explain." "The Confederation thinks this quantum matrix is unstable because it creates micro-rifts in spacetime. They engineered newer systems specifically to prevent these rifts," Rahman said, highlighting a section of the core. "But our theoretical physics suggests these aren't flaws, they're opportunities." "For what?" "Reality manipulation," Rahman replied, his eyes gleaming. "The Princeton's I/O theory proposed that quantum fields could be directly manipulated, but we lack the technology to generate sufficient energy densities. This core creates exactly the field patterns we need." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her pulse quickened. "They gave us this ship as a joke, Malik." "Then the joke's on them, Commander. With some modifications, we could do things their advanced ships can't even dream of." The Confederation monitoring station observed with increasing curiosity as the humans began extensive modifications to the Forsaken Dream. Surveillance drones captured images of entire sections being reconfigured and energy signatures unlike anything the humans should have been capable of producing. "What are they doing to that decrepit vessel?" Vex Moria demanded during the quarterly assessment meeting. The monitoring chief, a multi-limbed Esthurian, manipulated the holographic display. "Unknown, High Chancellor. They've completely rebuilt the quantum matrix to amplify the very instabilities we engineered out of our modern systems." "Fools," Admiral Kulvek scoffed. "They'll tear a hole in reality." "Perhaps that's their intention," the monitoring chief suggested quietly. The High Chancellor dismissed the notion with a wave of his upper appendage. Impossible. Their understanding of quantum physics is rudimentary at best. They're merely playing with technologies they don't comprehend. 6 months after receiving the Forsaken Dream, humanity was ready for their first real test. Commander Chen stood on the bridge, now unrecognizable from its original configuration. Where once stood rigid control panels and outdated navigation systems, now gleamed an integrated neural interface surrounded by a fluid holographic environment. "All systems are ready," Commander Raman reported from his station. "The quantum field manipulators are operating at 94% efficiency." "Begin test sequence," Chen ordered. "Target the coordination point and establish a controlled breach." Inside the ship, in the empty space of the Sol system's Kuiper belt where the test was being conducted, reality began to bend. It wasn't visible to the naked eye, but sensors detected it immediately. A controlled folding of spacetime, creating a corridor where the normal laws of physics became suggestions rather than mandates. "Breach established and stable," Raman confirmed, his voice tight with excitement. "Field integrity holding at 99.8%. "Take us in," Chen commanded. The Forsaken Dream slipped into the quantum breach, disappearing from normal spacetime. For exactly 17 seconds, the ship existed in a state between realities where light, mass, and energy operated under different rules. When it reappeared, it was on the opposite side of the solar system. A journey that should have taken days had occurred in seconds. At the Confederation monitoring station, alarms blared as sensors detected the impossible transition. The monitoring chief stared at the data in disbelief. "High Chancellor, the humans have. They've created a controlled quantum breach. They've used the instability in the core to fold spacetime." Vex Moria's chromatic skin paled to a sickly yellow. "That's impossible with that technology." "The evidence suggests otherwise," the chief replied. "They've achieved something our ships cannot do." Admiral Klee studied the readings carefully. "A fluke, a dangerous accident they cannot replicate." But over the next weeks, the humans did replicate it, again and again, with increasing precision. Each time, the Forsaken Dream slipped between points in space without traversing the distance between them. Not faster-than-light travel as the Confederation understood it, but something else entirely. A manipulation of reality's fundamental structure. When the Confederation's diplomatic envoy demanded an explanation, Commander Chen invited them aboard the Forsaken Dream for a demonstration. The delegation arrived expecting to find a dangerous aberration, a lucky discovery that the primitive humans couldn't possibly understand. Instead, they found a ship transformed. "Welcome aboard," Chen greeted them in the new bridge chamber. "We're grateful for your gift. It's taught us more than we could have imagined." High Chancellor Vex Moria's sensory ridges flattened against his skull, a sign of extreme discomfort. "You've modified Confederation technology without authorization. These alterations violate safety protocols." "With respect, Chancellor," Chen replied. "Once gifted, the vessel became humanity's to use as we see fit, and we eliminated the instability your engineers found so concerning." "By exploiting it," Admiral Klee hissed. "By understanding it," Raman corrected, joining them. "Your civilization engineered around the quantum distortions. We engineered into them." Chen gestured to the holographic display showing the ship's modified systems. "We'd be happy to demonstrate the practical applications. Our next test involves creating a sustained reality pocket where we can harvest energy directly from quantum fluctuations." The Confederation delegation exchanged uneasy glances. What had begun as a diplomatic slight, a way to put the upstart humans in their place, had somehow given them access to technology that the Confederation's finest minds had overlooked. The joke, it seemed, had backfired spectacularly. Defying reality's chains. The rift appeared without warning at the edge of the Andromeda arm, a tear in the fabric of spacetime that defied all known laws of physics. It wasn't merely a black hole or a spatial anomaly. It was a wound in reality itself, bleeding impossible energies into the cosmos. 3 of the Confederation's most advanced battle cruisers had already been lost attempting to contain it. The tear was expanding, consuming stars and planetary systems, and conventional weapons had no effect. The greatest scientific minds of 17 species worked frantically to develop a solution, as evacuation orders were issued for dozens of worlds in the rift's projected path. The Confederation Council convened an emergency session, the vast chamber filled with representatives from every member species. The mood was grim as the Strategic Command presented the latest projections. At current expansion rates, the rift will reach major population centers within 17 solar days, Admiral Kovks reported. Our attempts to disrupt or contain it have failed. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases. High Chancellor Vexmoria's skin had faded to the dull gray of extreme stress. What of the theoretical division? Have they proposed any viable solutions? The chief scientist, a musion with flowing tendrils that twitched nervously, stepped forward. Nothing that can be implemented in time. The rift operates on principles that contradict our understanding of quantum mechanics. From the back of the chamber, a voice called out, "We might have a solution." All eyes turned to the human delegation, where Commander Chen stood with unwarranted confidence. "The Council recognizes Earth's representative," Vex Moria announced, his tone making it clear he expected little from this interruption. Chen activated her personal projector, displaying a complex model of the rift. "Our analysis indicates the anomaly is a cascade failure in the quantum field itself. Conventional weapons can't affect it because they operate within the constraints of normal physics." "We are aware of this," the chief scientist responded dryly. "What you may not be aware of," Chen continued, undeterred, "is that the Forsaken Dream has been specifically modified to operate outside those constraints. We believe we can establish a countervailing field to contain and ultimately neutralize the rift." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices and translated objections. "Silence," Vex Moria commanded. When order was restored, he fixed Chen with a penetrating stare. "You propose to approach this catastrophic anomaly in a single outdated vessel that you've modified with untested technology." "It's been thoroughly tested," Chen corrected. "And yes, that's exactly what I'm proposing. Our ship is uniquely equipped to interact with the quantum instabilities driving the rift's expansion." Admiral Kulovsk's ridges flattened in skepticism. "Your vessel can barely achieve standard faster-than-light travel. The rift is 16 sectors away." "We don't need FTL in the conventional sense," Chen explained, gesturing to a new set of projections. "Our quantum displacement system can create a direct pathway to the rift. We can be there in under an hour." The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. "This is theoretically impossible," the chief scientist whispered. "So we've been told," Chen replied with a hint of a smile. "Yet here we are." After hours of heated debate, with no better options forthcoming, the council reluctantly authorized the human intervention, not out of confidence in their abilities, but out of desperate hope that even a failed attempt might provide data for a more conventional solution. Aboard the Forsaken Dream, the human crew made final preparations. The ship now bore little resemblance to the derelict vessel they had received. Its hull was covered in a lattice of quantum field projectors, and its power core pulsed with energies that made conventional sensors malfunction. "All systems are at optimal capacity," Raman reported from his station. "The breach generators are primed and targeting coordinates are locked." Commander Chen surveyed her crew. Not just engineers and pilots, but theoretical physicists and quantum specialists who had been drawn to the project once the ship's potential was recognized. "Today we prove that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology," she told them, "but our willingness to see possibility where others see limitations." Initiate displacement sequence. The Forsaken Dream vanished from normal space in a ripple of distorted light. The Confederation monitoring stations tracked its quantum signature as it skipped across reality, bypassing the normal constraints of distance. 53 minutes later, the ship appeared at the edge of the rift zone, where swirling energies consumed everything they touched. From this close, the tier was terrifying, a wound in existence itself, bleeding impossible colors and radiating energies that made the ship's sensors scream warnings. "Begin countermeasure deployment," Chen ordered. "Establish the containment field." Raman and his team activated the ship's modified quantum matrix. The core that had once been deemed too unstable for safe operation now channeled precisely controlled quantum fluctuations, projecting a field that mirrored the rift's own distortions. "Field established," Raman confirmed. "The rift's expansion has slowed, it's responding to our interference." For 6 grueling hours, the Forsaken Dream maintained position at the edge of destruction, its systems pushed beyond any reasonable limits as the crew refined their approach. Gradually, the containment field began to contract, forcing the rift to collapse back upon itself. The Confederation Council watched in stunned silence as the impossible unfolded on their monitoring screens. The anomaly that had defied their most advanced technology was being tamed by a ship they had discarded as worthless. "Incredible," the chief scientist murmured. "They're creating a counter-resonance in the quantum field itself." When the Forsaken Dream finally returned to Confederation space, emerging directly into the Council Chamber's viewing area in a display of precision that defied conventional navigation, the ship bore the scars of its encounter. Parts of its hull had been partially phased out of normal reality, existing in a state of quantum flux that made them appear ghostly and insubstantial. Commander Chen stepped onto the council floor, her uniform similarly affected, parts of her seemingly there and not there simultaneously. The effect was unsettling, but she stood tall despite the obvious strain the operation had placed on her. "The rift has been neutralized," she reported formally. "We've established monitoring systems to ensure it doesn't re-establish." High Chancellor Vex Moria descended from his elevated position, approaching Chen with a newfound respect that bordered on wariness. "You've saved countless lives," he acknowledged. "The Confederation owes humanity a debt." Chen smiled, the expression containing equal parts exhaustion and satisfaction. "Consider it repayment for your generous gift. The Forsaken Dream has served us well." Admiral Klee joined them, his military bearing unable to fully conceal his astonishment. "How did you know your modifications would work? The risk was incalculable." "That's where you're wrong, Admiral," Chen replied. "Humans excel at calculating risks. We just reached different conclusions about which ones are worth taking." In the days that followed, the Confederation was forced to reevaluate its understanding of humanity. What they had dismissed as a primitive species barely worthy of notice had transformed their technological cast-off into something that defied conventional physics. More concerning for the established powers, humanity had already begun construction of 5 more vessels based on the principles they'd discovered in the Forsaken Dream, not mere copies, but refinements that promised even greater capabilities. "We made a grave miscalculation," Vex Moria admitted during a private council session. "In our arrogance, we gave them exactly what they needed to surpass us." The Senthian monitoring chief, who had observed humanity's progress from the beginning, offered a different perspective. "Perhaps we should consider this not as a threat, but as an opportunity. For millennia, our technological development has followed predictable patterns. The humans offer something new, something dangerous," Admiral Kulovx countered. "Something necessary," the chief replied. "The rift would have consumed us all if not for their unorthodox approach." As the debate continued, humanity quietly expanded their fleet of reality-bending vessels. The Forsaken Dream, once given as an insult, had become the foundation for a new era of exploration and discovery. Where conventional ships were limited by the laws of physics, human vessels slipped between the seams of reality, accessing regions of space previously deemed unreachable. Commander Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood on the observation deck of the newest ship in Earth's quantum fleet, watching stars that no Confederation vessel could reach. Beside her, Raman had also been promoted, his insights into quantum field manipulation having revolutionized humanity's understanding of the universe. "They meant to put us in our place," Raman reflected, "by giving us their garbage." Chen smiled, remembering the ancient vessel that had started it all. They forgot that humans have always been good at finding value in what others throw away. Beyond the viewport, reality itself seemed to shimmer with possibility. The joke that had backfired had changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever.